now's probably the right time for me to tell people what's been going on. It's tough to talk about it because it's quite recent, and it's something I've kind of hid for a long time. And I'm scared to talk about it, but I think it's the right thing to do. So when I come back from Turkey, I came in and I found out I needed an operation, and I was in a bad place mentally, and yeah, I decided to go to like a modern day rehab facility for mental health. They deal with like addiction, mental health, and trauma. So it was something that I felt like it was time for me. I think with things like that, you can't be told to go there. I think you have to know and you have to make the decision yourself, else it's not going to work. And yeah, I was just, to be honest, I was caught in a bad cycle. I was relying on things that were doing me harm. I was waking up every day and I was winning the fight, going into training, smiling, showing that I was happy. But inside, I was definitely, losing the battle. I could never understand. I could never figure out, and I was doing stupid things that I blame myself for. If I'm being honest, I probably wouldn't have wanted to talk about it this soon. Unfortunately, the way the world is now, the tabloids, they found out, and they was calling my team a lot, and they were telling, that they knew where I was and stuff, and the decision that I maybe made in the past, where I didn't really care about what people thought and I didn't care about being understood, I would have just let them write what they wanted to write and, put their own story on, which they do a lot of the time, but that's not the reality. And I didn't realize I was doing it for that purpose, whether it be drinking or whatever. I think they're things a lot of people do, but if you abuse it and use it in the wrong way, and you're not actually doing it for the pleasure, you're doing it to try and chase something or hide from something, it can obviously damage you a lot. So it started with that, and then I got addicted to sleeping tablets, and it's probably a problem that not only I have. I think it's something that's going around more than people realize. It does work for the problems you want to deal with, and that is the problem. It works until it doesn't. So yeah, I definitely abused them too much when I was growing up. The traumas I had, the feelings I was holding on to, and I tried to deal with it all by myself. I didn't want to tell anyone. There was a number of times my adopted family, my brother, it makes me sad. They would take me to rooms, cry, and ask me to just speak to them, tell them what I'm thinking, how I'm feeling, and I just couldn't do it because I wanted to deal with it by myself. And I was just turning everyone away, not accepting any help from anyone. I didn't want help. I'd tell myself I wasn't an addict, I wasn't addicted to them. Something would happen, I'd get the feelings back and I'd want to escape, because drugs, alcohol, all this stuff, they work. But for me, it was fixing something else that I didn't know I could fix. And you hold on to that, rejection, just being told you're not good enough, fighting every day. Even something like losing a game, it can affect you mentally. And you have to be ready, you have to be smiling the next day. And when you're not, it's a problem. So probably the saddest moment for me was when Mourinho was manager. I think I was 24. And I remember there was one session, like one morning I woke up, I had to go training. This is when he'd stopped playing me. And I was in a bad place, and I remember just looking in the mirror and I was asking if I could retire now. At 24, doing the thing I love. For me, that was heartbreaking. The reality of what they say is not the reality. I think they was calling me a party boy and all this before I was doing any of this. So I think people's perception of me was a lot different to the reality of what I was living. It's always been me against myself in everything. I think I've always been my own hero and my own biggest enemy. So I found that if you let people in, it's the way they can hurt you the most. So I definitely hid from it and I didn't allow anyone to do that. And it didn't work. I think we all hold on to not wanting to change because it's who we are. We'll lose our identity. But if you are working, then that's great. But it gets to a point sometimes where it's not working anymore and you need to change things. And that was the point I was at. At 6, I was molested by my mum's friend who was at the house a lot. So my mum was an alcoholic. And then was sent to Africa to learn discipline, and then I was sent back. 7, I started smoking. 8, I started dealing drugs. An older person told me that they wouldn't stop a kid on a bike, so I'd ride around with my football, and then underneath I'd have the drugs, and yeah. And so that was 8. 11, I was hung off a bridge.
By who?
A guy from the next estate, a man. And then, 12, I was adopted, so we all think we're so unique that no one else has the same problems as us. But speak to a few people in that place and you'll realize that you have a lot more in common than you'd probably think. Going there and speaking to them and listening to them and working together, it was one of the best teams I've been a part of, and I can't thank them people enough. What I went through, helped me really understand my purpose. Like when I'm just going through everything, breaking it down, finding out why I'm here, what I want in life, I know what I can do on the pitch. I think I've showed people what I can do on the pitch, and now I've got the feeling back, like before I went to Tottenham, when I had a lot to prove and I wanted to fight and I felt so much love and passion about football. I have that back, which for me is something I've missed for probably longer than I wanted to. But with the other side of it, I want to inspire people not only on the pitch, off the pitch, in a way that I think probably isn't spoken about enough from experience. Poch I couldn't have asked for a better manager at the time I was in. Him and his team, not just him, there was Jesus and Miguel and Tony. They are amazing people and they're so understanding, and it wasn't like a footballer and a manager relationship. It was deeper than that, I felt. He was just so understanding of the decisions I was making, and he was guiding, like he cared about me as a person before football, which is what I needed at that time. And I think that's important for young players. I think when you go somewhere, it can be quite scary, I think. And I never had that fear of, trying to prove myself in that sense, because I felt like he was giving me the platform to express myself the best I could and be comfortable. Players always used to say I wanted, that I was fearless. I wasn't fearless, I was just brave. I think there's a big difference, because I was scared of things. But I think being brave, you feel the fear still, but you still do it. And I think that's something that he allowed me to do. I weren't open to let anyone in, and I didn't feel like any of them wanted to really know me in a personal level, which was then tough for me to fully commit and give my everything for them, which obviously had a negative impact on me in the long run. He called me lazy. That was the day after recovery day. A week later, he apologized to me for calling me lazy, because he'd seen me actually train and play, like the likes of Eric Dyer. I think he's a great friend, and you realize who is your real friends, who really, people that don't just say yes. They mean a lot to you, and they will always hold a special place in my heart. So people like Eric, Harry, Sonny, Ben, there's a lot of players that didn't approve of what I was doing. If they knew about it, they weren't afraid to tell me. But I didn't care. I couldn't accept any help or anything from anyone. I just didn't care, which is something I'm sad about, but I'm proud that I'm through it now.